What am I looking at? What are the units inside these files? In which bucket or scopes the emissions should go towards? Here are the basics of how a carbon accounting software should function. On one side, we have your business information, maybe inside Google Drive. And the other side, we have our carbon accounting software. And let's say that carbon accounting software is NetNada, because why not? Your goal is to try to first move the information inside your business systems into the carbon accounting software. So your goal is to link it in this direction, and the carbon accounting software will ask a first question. What am I looking at? The information inside these files could live inside a PDF, an Excel spreadsheet, and the file will come in here and we'll try to figure out what it is. By looking at the file, we might be looking at, let's say, energy, and we also might bring another file who might be looking at, let's say, money. Now, it is important to understand that once this has been identified, we have to figure out what are the units inside these files. So a good example, we might be looking at the energy file where we extract kilowatt hours, which is important, and a file with money that might have USD and maybe a combination of USD with Australian dollars. The information could of course vary. We could also be looking at things like files that represent distances, and those distances are in kilometers as an example. Now, what is the important thing to do here? What is the question is that to make this happen, we'll need to multiply the activity inside this information by an emission factor. There are many emission factors to pick from, but that emission factor needs to be converted or in units that match the activity that we're looking at. So in this case, we have energy with kilowatt hours, and now we'll have to multiply by an emission factor which has units of CO2 by kilowatt hours. What's important here? The importance here is that this needs to be in the same region where the activity has occurred. So in this case, let's say we're in Australia, this needs to be an emission factor from Australia to be close matched to the activity. After this is done, will result in CO2. Let's say this is an atom of CO2 that has been emitted or will be emitted into the atmosphere, contribution to global warming. The next task of the carbon accounting software is to figure out in which bucket or scopes the emissions should go towards. Now, it is important to understand that this information might vary depending on the activity. Distance can be a unit of measurement that goes into scope 1, as well as a unit of measurement that goes into scope 3. Or your energy, you might be looking at energy that you have operation control under, and you're looking at energy that goes into scope 1 or energy that goes into scope 2. Hopefully this summarizes how a carbon accounting software deals with your information, process that, and allocates it into the correct bucket. Things like being able to grab not one file at once, but bringing all the files that you have of energy in one single approach to be run calculations is an ideal scenario for a carbon accounting tool. Being able to read multiple currencies from the same file and allocate that emissions to the correct bucket automatically, because your money might be contributing to scope 3, scope 2, and scope 1 simultaneously, is also ideally. And of course, ensuring that the emission factors that you have are from the right region for calculating. Hope that explains a bit more on how carbon accounting software works.